Okay, good afternoon. Right, so today we continue with the topic one. Basically, we have finished topic one. We have done these subtopics. Okay, what is data? What is information? The information cycle, right? Data gathering, data storage. The basic concepts we have done. The use of data and information, and those things we have done. And also we discuss the components of a ICT system or the information system, input, output, processing and feedback. Okay. Yeah, so we have done these things. So today we want to do applications of ICT, right? Applications of ICT. And also we want to do the benefits and issues when it comes to using ICT. So these things we will discuss. And then we have only small topic that is uh, legal and ethical aspects of ICT, including some concepts like copyright, plagiarisms, and so on. So then your topic one is over. Okay, topic one is over. We have already started the topic two also. Last time we discussed the introduction to computer. So therefore, we have already started the topic two also. So once we finish topic one, of course, we will not be able to finish it today. Then we can 100% concentrate on topic two. Topic two is a little bit bigger topic, right? And then we will be starting on the topic three. Okay, right. So let's move forward because I don't want to waste your time. Okay, right. So again, the note is available in the Google Classroom. Today's note, that is, I have already shared you the introduction to ICT note. Right. So today's note is basically applications of ICT and also social and economic aspects of ICT. So then we have the legal and ethical aspects. Then topic one is over. Okay. Right. So you can download the note. Right. So let's quickly do this. It's a very small topic, and actually you don't need a lot of my help in this topic because this is a simple theory topic. Okay. A common sense topic. If you have done O-level ICT, you know these things already. Okay. Right. So what are the applications of ICT? Okay. So the simple answer is, so everywhere there are applications of ICT. So simple answer is like that, but let's look at some specific applications. Okay. So when it comes to specific applications, the most widely used application is obviously business. Okay. So that is why we have so many order processing system, billing system, payroll systems, accounting systems, and so on. So we will look at this later in a separate topic. Okay. So therefore, we will not look at this one because we will look at how the information systems are developed, what are the different information system for businesses, and so on when we are doing the system analysis and design topic, which is our fifth topic. Okay. But we will be looking at the use of ICT for education, government, agriculture, fisheries, banking and finance, tourism, health, and so on, and few more things. Right. So these things we will be looking at in the next topics as well. So just a big overview only. We don't go into details because you guys know these things. Okay. Right. So I told you the use of ICT in business. We are not going to look at it right now because we are going to look at it in more details about business information systems, and so on. You have separate topic called system analysis and design. So I don't want to duplicate the effort, right? So for example, when you start learning about your system analysis and design, let me show you that. Right, so there you have the topic 7, developing systems. So there we just look at in great detail different systems we use for businesses, right? TPSs, MISs, DSS, CSS, and so on and so on, ERPs. So don't worry, we will cover that at that time. So therefore, we are not looking at the business information systems or use of ICT for business. So we are only looking at other aspects only. Okay, other aspects, other usages of ICT only. Right. So these aspects only, right? So let's start with use of ICT for education. Okay. So that is not a new thing because you guys are already using ICT for education. This session itself is the result of that. So the key areas are obviously online learning. Right? That is what you are doing right now also. Then use of ICT in classrooms. We call it smart classroom. So that is physical classroom. Still, we can use ICT like digital screens and students using tabs and so on. And that is different from online learning. And also we can use ICT for administrating both courses and students. Okay. So those are three usages. So the three main usages of ICT in education. Right. So if you move on to more specific usages, right? So the number one is obviously we can conduct online classes. So students no longer, it is not a must to attend classes physically. So we can do it online, like using Zoom and so on. Okay. So then the second usage is, so we are already doing this. So this session itself is an example of ICT for education. So second one is providing virtual learning environments, VLEs. You must be familiar with these words, virtual learning environment. For example, your Google Classroom is VLE. Right? Your Google Classroom is a virtual learning environment. So you go there and you download your contents, you have the quizzes, right? And you have the recordings. So everything is there. So this is a Google Classroom is an example of a virtual learning environment. Okay. So similarly, so there are some other virtual learning environments. For example, so because I'm conducting BIT classes as well, so they also have their own. University has provided the students a virtual learning environment. We call that again we call it PLE. For some reason the site is down. Okay. Can you guys hear me? It looks like my internet is slow. Can someone respond? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. Maybe something wrong with the Google then. Okay. Right. Right. So I will show you the okay, let me close this. My Firefox is not working. Yeah, now it is working. For example, the BIT. So they have their own virtual learning environment as well. So for some reason their site is down now. Okay, I will show it later. So those are called what? Virtual learning environment. For example, the very good example is our Google Classroom. So it gives you a learning environment, but it is not physical. It's a virtual one. But we can do almost everything. So we can share the note, we can have your quizzes, we can even give you assignments and give markings and so on. So that is another use of ICT for education. Another one is provide multimedia-based study materials. Right? Not just boring text and images of printed notes. So it's animations, interactive activities, okay, audio, video. So we can use everything for your study materials. So that is another advantage. And we can make it interactive also. You submit the quiz and you get the answers immediately. The teacher is not needed to do the corrections Okay. And sometimes even you can see the correct answer and some hints, right? So that is called VLE, Virtual Learning Environment. Another use of ICT for education is giving you virtual study groups or virtual forums. So our WhatsApp group is such kind of a forum. So it can be a WhatsApp group, it can be a Telegram group, or any other kind of a group. So that students can share their knowledge and so on. So online self-evaluation. So that is why we have the quizzes. So you can evaluate your understanding. You can evaluate, are you ready for the exams online? And also we can have the learning management systems, LMSs. So the learning management system is if some courses are 100% online. So we can manage students' progress, right? Even the online exams can be conducted and so on. Okay, so we call it learning management system. So then, of course, we can even conduct online exams. So especially during the Corona period, right? So a lot of universities conducted the exams online. Of course, that cannot be done for something like O-level, A-level. But so for adult students, so we can conduct online exams. Sometimes even we can use monitoring using cameras or the camming of the laptop. Okay, so those are some usages of ICT for education. And remember, there are two types of education: the teacher-centric education and student-centric education. In teacher-centric education, teacher is in the center. Right? Teacher is in the center. The students are taught. But in student-centric education, the student is in the center, the teachers and other people just facilitate students to learn. So when it comes to online education is pretty much student-centric education. So the students are facilitated and students are given freedom and then they can learn on their own pace. So there are no hard and fast deadlines, hard and fast regulations. So students are given a lot of freedoms and we expect a lot of responsibility from the students. Right? So online education is pretty much student-centric education system. Okay. And therefore, when we use ICT for education, the prerequisites are the students must be self-motivated. So they are not studying because their parents are saying like that or forcing. No, they know the value of the education and they know and they do it by their own motivation. And they are proactive, right? Because the teacher is not physically closer to you. So therefore, they need to proactively communicate and ask questions and so on. And they need self-discipline because it's virtually they attend in the class. Right? Virtually they attend in the class and so on. So therefore they need self-discipline, timeliness and so on, responsibility and so on. Okay. So those are part and parcel of online learning. So what are the advantages of use of ICT for education? Of course, students get the opportunity to online learning and teachers can do online teaching. So no need to travel. So the teacher doesn't need to travel. The students doesn't. So the students don't need to travel either. And students from even remote areas, so they get the opportunity to attend sessions. So you know that even in Sri Lanka, there's a different research scores for different districts, right? So students in Colombo need to get higher marks, and student in maybe Monaragala, Ampara, Hambantota, they only consider lesser marks for qualification because they think the education system think that they are less privileged. So they don't have the resources. But when it comes to online education, everyone is in the same level. Right? Whether someone is joining from Ampara or Colombo or Gampaha or Badulla, it doesn't matter. Everyone is in the equal state. So that is really good point of use of online education, online teaching. And when students are given online studying or e-learning, so they get access to the global study resources like YouTube and so on. And it's very interactive and rich multimedia experience. And of course, it's student-based education. So therefore, students get that motivation. No one is forcing them. So they get the freedom also. And also in VLE environment, so 24-hour, 365 support is there. The contents is available. Students can discuss at any time and so on. So those are the all good points about online or use of ICT. And of course, use of multimedia make it very interesting, right? And rich experience. And also managing study materials is easier so that students get the latest study materials all the time, right? It's not like a printed material where we print maybe once 3 years time. So online materials can be updated all the time, at any time. Okay, so those are all advantages. But there are some challenges. Okay, there are some challenges. For example, some students may not have the computers or laptop, right? So not everyone can afford. And some people have lack of internet access or the connectivity is not good. And especially some teachers, they lack ICT literacy. Of course, ICT teachers have the ICT literacy, but some other subject, sometimes the issue is not with the students. The teachers don't know how to use these technologies and so on. Okay. And also the attitude and cultural issues, right? So some, especially in countries like Sri Lanka, so some parents look at the computer as a evil machine. So computer do all the harm and no good. So that is some of the parents' attitude. So that is a big negative point to promote ICT for education, right? So sometimes they don't know, they because parents doesn't know how to use computer, so they think that it's evil device. Okay, right. So that is one area, use of ICT for education, the good and bad and the challenges. Okay. So now let's move on to use of ICT for government. Right. So when it comes to use of ICT for government, we can identify a few areas. We can even categorize them: government to consumer or citizen, government to business, government to government, and some other general use. So government to citizen means government provide more and more information and services online. So citizens can get the service rather than visiting office. Government office, they can get it through visiting a website. So that is called government to citizen initiative. For example, you can apply passport and even IDs online. So you can even apply your A-level, O-level exams online. Right? So that is good thing. Right? Government to citizen. So we can apply revenue license for our vehicles online. So they send the revenue license, printed revenue license through mail. Okay. So those are good things. So those are called what? Government to citizen services. So the government is trying to make it more and more available, right? Pay bills, electricity bills, and so on. So that is also G2C. So then we have government to business. So business organizations also need to interact with the government institutes. So they have to pay taxes, they have to clear goods from harbor, they have to do their business registration. So if the government can provide those things also more and more online, of course, some of those things are already available online, like registration, filing tax, right, paying their taxes and so on. So that is called G2B, government to business initiatives, EP initiatives. So then we have government to government. So that is interconnecting government organizations together. Because otherwise, there are misinformation, sometimes a lot of delays. So that is why they have connected these things and they keep doing this so that your details are shared among different like ID card department, department of examination, immigration department, and so on. Right? Police department, like police reports and everything, they can send online. So they don't have to ask you take your birth certificate because birth certificate copy is in with the government. So you don't have to go to a particular office and take it. So when we have these G2C interactions fully functioning, and of course, in general, in the government organizations also, they can use more and more information systems for their payroll systems, in attendance management systems, and so on. So all those are part of use of ICT for government. Okay, right. So again, the advantages, overall advantages are pretty much the same for each and every category, but it reduces the cost, both government cost and the citizens cost, less traveling because more and more services are available online, right? Faster information sharing, we get the information quick and fast, like the moment your A-level results are released, within 1 minute you can get it. But when we did A-level, we had to go to the school and the results are in the notice board, but you don't have to. And less corruption and frauds, and there are a lot of issues about corruptions, but when you get it done by the systems, the system is not asking bribes, which is good, right? Otherwise some people are really corrupted, so we have to give them bribes, and otherwise the things get delayed, but system treat everyone equally. Okay, so those are big advantages of going for ICT more and more in the government sector. Right. Another area is use of ICT for agriculture. So you just have to aware of these things because in the second paper, in some questions they ask, so write down 3 advantage of using ICT for agriculture, challenges in using ICT for education, and so on. So you have to write the answers more than MCQs. Right. So when it comes to use of ICT for agriculture, so we can provide online information resources for farmers, like weather information, new techniques, okay? Update them about the prices, demands. And also, we can use ICT for provide online training, right? Using Zoom or maybe using YouTube. We can participate farmers all over the country for a training session. And online forums for the farmers to discuss their ideas, share their knowledge, right? And also facilitate online marketplaces for them to sell their products. That is a big issue in Sri Lanka. So they can even find foreign customers. And also we can use something like Internet of Things, robotics, for monitor and control their activities like watering, providing the minerals and other things, because we have to do it in a very systematic way. Okay, so those are some usages. Of course, you can think of other possible usages as well. Use your common sense. Okay, again, the advantages are, because those are the 2 type of questions they ask. What are the usages? What are the advantages? So what are the disadvantages or challenges? Of course, there's no disadvantage, but there are challenges. Maybe some of the farmers are not having the computer literacy. Some of the farmers may not have the internet connectivity. So those things actually you have to think at that time and also write, but better you think about those things and go to the exams. Okay. Right. So that is the agricultural sector. So the next one is fisheries, fishing. So you know that it's high risk job category, but it's no longer very high risk because of the technology, especially ICT. So what are the possible usages? Of course, they can use the GPS. So we just like we use GPS for navigation like Google Map. So these farmers also can use special GPS systems to navigate in the sea, especially in the deep sea. And they can use satellite internet so that they, even when they are hundreds of miles away from the country, still they can communicate with their family members, which is really good. And some other technologies like sonar related technologies to find the fish harvest sites and so on. So all those are use of ICT for fisheries industry. Right? Give them better income, make sure their safety is preserved and so on. And their connectivity with their family members, social life, because sometimes they just go to fishing, they come back maybe after 3 weeks, completely isolated. But with internet, that isolation is no longer there. Okay. And that insecurity is no longer there because they have so many technologies to navigate, communicate, and so on. Okay. Right. Another area is which is related to business, that is banking and finance. Right. So with the now very rarely we have to go visit banks because we can do almost everything online. Even we can start an account, right? We can transfer money, pay our bills, right? And so on. So we have the online banking, mobile banking. So these things I don't have to discuss because you know these things, okay? Right. So what are the advantages? Again, it reduced our time because we don't have to travel to bank. So when someone do a money transfer, we get the SMS. So we can just connect to log into our mobile bank application and see whether that transaction has been done. Okay. And also it's good for the businesses also because they can get money online, credit card payments, easy cash payments, and so on. So that is why a lot of small businesses, online businesses are happening. So they can sell their product online very easily. And also it promotes businesses because businesses need banking and financial support when they are going online, especially the online businesses get the benefit. Okay. Right. So we'll now move on to another area, tourism. So you have to think about possible usages. Right? You can add few more to this list, but try to, especially when it comes to exams, try to give the best points because you have to buy your marks. Okay. Right. So what are the possible usages of ICT for tourism? So these days, a lot of discussions are on that. So we can provide online informations for the tourist about possible places to visit, possible events, possible dates. So they are aware of those things. They come to the country with those information. So they can better plan their tours. And of course, we can do a lot of promotions and marketing using internet, social media. Right? We can use YouTube, Facebook, because people are in the social media. So people are no longer in television, radio. They don't buy newspapers. So we have to do our marketing promotions in the correct place. And online bookings, right? Airline ticketing, hotel bookings, tour planning software, online tour planning softwares are available, sites. And also there are discussion forums so that they can discuss ideas, right? Where to visit, what time to visit, what are the good things, bad things, right? So they have the freedom to discuss these things. So those are all good things. So we have to use those features to promote tourism. Promote tourism. Right. So let's move on to another area. So the advantages, obviously, it's easy for them to access this information. And also small entrepreneurs, say maybe you have few villas. You are not a big hotel company. So you can market your villas online and let them book those things. You don't have to have even a website. Right? For example, there are things like bookings.com. Right? Say hotel room, say in Jaffna. Say I want to go to Jaffna this weekend. So I can go to the bookings.com. I can go to the Agoda. So they will tell you which prices and blah blah blah. Okay, let's go to the bookings.com because it has more features. So it will say what are the room rates and blah blah blah. Right. So which day you want to visit and what are the prices and everything is there. We can even do the online booking. So if you are a tourist or the room provider, you don't need to be a big hotel. You can be even a very small place, but you can get the benefit. Right? You can get the benefit, and others can just book that online. Okay, all the details are there. So we have to use that. We have to use ICT, internet, social media, right, to promote our tourism, our hotel rooms, and so on. Right? So people get easy access to information. So even small entrepreneurs can start their businesses related to tourism and innovative online services we can provide. Okay. And also the tourists get better connectivity and safety because these days they don't have to worry because they have the Google map. So they can even travel by themselves now. They can travel by themselves because the navigation is there and connectivity is there. Okay. So not only that, when we go to another country, we get the same benefit. Right? We can travel any place, right, with minimum risk, especially due to Google Map, Google Translator, and so on. Right. So let's move on to another sector, the health sector. Right. So when it comes to health sector, what are the benefits? Of course, the typical benefits are online channeling. Right. Online channeling. Now we have an addition called telemedicine, that is mobile channeling. Right. And of course, we can have the online health information management systems to manage the clinics and other patient related things in a hospital. And remember, all these machines are ICT, MRI scanners, ECG machines. So they are all connected to computers. So those are also use of ICT. And we have body area networks in something like ICUs, right? Monitoring all the patients' health conditions. And almost all the smartphones have the apps to monitor health condition, activity levels, how much of steps you have taken, what is your active time, what is your sleep time. So those apps are there. And also when it comes to advanced usages, so there is something called artificial organs and so on for very critical patients. So they can just take over some of the functionalities. Okay. So those are possible use of ICT in the health sector. You can see that almost every sector has considerable influence from the ICT. Okay. Right. So let's move on to another area, that is media and journalism. So these days, now we have two type of media: traditional media, the new media, or the online media. So the traditional media includes papers, radio, and TV. So those are the old media. But new media is internet, internet, and internet. Internet, and it's one of the biggest usage is social media. So when it comes to media and journalism, now more and more people are concentrating on online media and journalism rather than these all media. So what is the biggest advantage? So these media are, number one, they are not multimedia. So just one aspect, just audio, just text and pictures, or just moving things, but no interactivity. Right? So that is one thing, very dull, one aspect. Second one is not interactive. But when it comes to online media, it's basically multimedia. So it gives better, rich experience. Second one is the citizens have better voice power. We can comment, we can like, share, right? So we are in control. Here, they are in control. So that is why politicians and those people really like these traditional media. They don't like to come here because we are in control. Right? Citizens are in control because we have the voice power. Here, we don't have the voice power. We are just passively watching, listening, reading. But here, we are actively engaged in communication. Right? So that is the biggest advantage. That is why the new generation really don't like traditional media. They always go for the new media, right? Online media. So therefore, that opportunity, maybe you are now learning media also as a subject, say art stream. So you must know that this is already dead. This is the future. This is the future. This is not the future. This is the current reality. Okay. So multimedia experience, fast reporting. You can anytime you can go YouTube live, Facebook live when there's a incident. So immediately you are giving the live reporting. You don't need a television crew and so on, right? Your smartphone is enough to do a live telecast. About 10 years ago, it's a big task giving a live telecast. But now it has become anyone can, even you don't need to be a journalist, anyone can give it live to all anyone in the world. And it's more interactive. And users have better voice power. And also, starting a online media is very cheap. It's not costly. So you just need maybe a smartphone, right? Maybe a very basic website, or if you don't have a website, we can use YouTube, Facebook, and so on. And also, it's very flexible for journalists also. They can work from home, so they don't have to go to a place, working place daily, waste in their time. So they just have to visit the news reporting places, and other time they can stay at home. So that is why people like more and more these new things, right? Because they get that freedom, they get that free time when they work with new technologies. So the traditional people spend a lot of time in their workplaces, wasting their valuable time. But those who go with new things, new technologies, they have the less cost, they are very innovative, they are more productive, and they have more opportunities in all the areas, whether it's journalism or health or agriculture or whatever. Okay. Right. Another area is, another application of ICT is security and criminal investigation. Of course, it includes our personal security, right? And also criminal investigation is pretty much a job of the government. But we have to consider our own security of our house, right? Home environment, our offices, businesses. So we heavily use CCTV camera. So a lot of students doesn't know what is CC. CC means closed circuit camera. Okay, so they may use the word closed circuit camera, right? CCTV camera for monitoring, and even we can see it through the internet. Maybe you are not while you are at office, you can see the recordings or the live recordings of the CCTV camera of your house. And also we can integrate with security alarm systems, burglar detection systems, or some other IoTs. right? That is more as individuals we can benefit. But when it comes to criminal investigation, that is something the government has to do. So there's another concept called digital forensics. So forensics means, now remember, when there's a murder or something, criminal activity. So they encircle the place and they take fingerprints and so on. So that is normal forensics. So digital forensics includes analyzing the smartphone, their communication using the social media, then analyzing the CCTV camera recordings, analyzing where these people have visited using the mobile network details. So those things really help us I detect those criminals. Okay. So we can analyze the GPS details of the that person, analyze the computer or smartphone contents, analyze their social media usages. If it is terrorism or something, like how they behaved in a very rude manner or unusual manner, have they done any threatening? And even we can analyze their browsing history, see whether they have bought any weapons or have done any interactions with any other criminals and so on. So this is called digital forensics. For example, in the University of Colombo, they have a digital forensic lab. University of Moratu has a digital forensic lab. So therefore, the court order to send their smartphones and other things to digital forensics labs, and they do the analysis and give the reports to the courts. Okay, so those are another use of ICT for that. Now remember, these days the security is a big area. A lot of job opportunities are also there, white collar hacking and so on. Okay, right. So those are some usages, and let's finally look at the use of ICT for job recruitment. So that is another area. It's a small area, but it's an important area. For example, these days it's no longer the job vacancies are publishing papers. Of course, the government jobs they publish, but private sector, technical jobs, IT, software engineering, so they all publish internet or their own website, or there are job posting sites like topjobs.lk. And people can apply online, send the CV online, so they don't have to post it. And sometimes even the first and second interviews are done online using Zoom or Google Meetings or whatever. So they even shortlist. And sometimes if the job is also online, so they don't have to go to the office at all. And sometimes, yes, maybe final interview. Right? Because we can conduct job interviews online very easily. And sometimes we can give them online test and shortlist. And only selected people are interviewed online or physical. And there are hiring management systems to track the interview dates, short listings. Those are software. So you can see plenty of usages everywhere. So therefore, that is why I told you, if someone asks what are the usages of ICT, simple answer is there are no place where there is no use of ICT. But we just took some important areas. Okay, right. So we cover almost all the areas other than business, because business we will be taking separately, right? So one area I forgot to add is engineering. Okay, so I will be adding another slide to engineering, right? Because I forgot to add that last year. But anyway, I will just briefly mention that. So another area is engineering, right? Engineering. So remember, engineers involved in manufacturing, construction, right? Factories and so on. So one area is obviously computer-aided designing, CAD. Computer-aided designing. So there are packages like AutoCAD for civil and mechanical engineers. So there are some designing tools for example, we will also use this particular tool when we are doing digital circuit designing. So that is logic.ly. So these are all designing tools. You can design your circuits. You can just drag and drop and design your circuit. Say this is a toggle switch. So this is your AND gate, right? NOT gate, and so on. Of course, this is a very primitive tool, but there are more sophisticated tools available. So let's add a bulb also. Where is my AND gate? Can connect. So when this is off, this is on because it's a NOT gate. When this is on, this is off. So likewise, so we can do a lot of simulations, designing. So these are computer-aided designing. Of course, this is a prototyping tool, right? So likewise, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, electronic engineers, compute engineers. So we get that benefit. And I'll be adding that slide, okay, and upload it again. So what is that area is called? Computer-aided design, CAD. Okay. So civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical, electronic, anyone can benefit from that. Like machine drawing and so on is done by CAD. So then we have the CAM, computer-aided manufacturing. So that is where we can use robotics. Right? You can use IoT and so on. You know, like for example, if you take car manufacturing, so it's almost 90% of the task is done. Say use of robotics in car manufacturing, not only car. So that is why the Japanese have lead. Right? So these are all done using different robots. Okay, so that is ICT. That is basically ICT. So those are all right use of ICT for engineering, and also we can do it testing. We can use ICT and so on. Okay, right. So that's it about applications of ICT. Okay, right. Now we move on to because benefits and issues of ICT. So both good and bad things. We will look at social aspects, good and bad, economic aspects, ethical, legal, and privacy things. We will look at under the final topic that we will be doing next time. But we will look at the digital divide aspect as well. Okay, right. So I will be using the note that the PowerPoint version. You have the PDF version. Okay. So the note is again available in the topic 1. Social, political, and economic aspect. Actually, next time we can finish the topic 1. We can finish topic 1, then we can concentrate 100% on topic 2. And while we are in the topic 2, we will be starting topic 3. That is how you do it. Now, while we are in the topic 1, we started topic 2. While we are in the topic 2, we will be starting topic 3. And you know how many topics are there in your syllabus. And gradually, we will be finishing your syllabus. We don't want to I don't care whether exams are dragging up or dragging down or whatever. We finish it maybe within 1.5 years. Okay. Most probably within 1.5 years. Okay. So now we are almost done with the concept of ICT. We have already started the topic 2 also. Now you know that you have 13 is not a topic. You have only 12 topics. Okay. You have only 12 topics. Right. So let's move on to a subtopic. Social, political and economic aspects of ICT. It's a very small topic, just few slides. Okay. Right. So we are more interested about social and economic aspects of ICT. And you know, social means society. How ICT affect the society. Now we look at specific areas like tourism, health, right? But now we look at as a whole, and also economy as a whole, not specific to a particular segment or business. Okay. Right. So let's look at the social aspects first. So social means samajයට කොහොමද බලපාන්නේ. So the first thing is when it comes to social aspects, there are two sides. Some people are winners, some people are losers. And sometimes you are a winner due to ICT, sometimes you are a loser. So that is why some people like ICT, some people hate ICT. Right? Some people really hate, some people really frightened of ICT. So those who go with the technologies, they become winners. They see the benefits, they see the opportunities. Others, they consider ICT as a threat, enemy. Right? Someone losing, taking their jobs. It all depends on how you look at it, whether you like to change. Those who like to change, winners. ICT is an opportunity. Those who don't like to change, those who like to live in the same way, they will become losers. So second point you have to remember is it can gives you paradoxical effects. Paradoxical effect means you think one and happen another. Right? For example, a student is given a laptop for his or her studies. But that student might ended up playing computer games, doing any other interactions with friends rather than doing studies. It can be both good and bad. Sometimes you expect good and happen bad. Sometimes you expect bad, but there are plenty of good things. You see only bad things. It depends on the person. For a right person, a lot of good things happens. For a wrong person, a lot of bad things happen. Whether you like it or not, that is the reason. It's like any other tool. People can do it for good things and bad things. Okay. And of course, there are moral and ethical aspects. We will take that as a separate topic next time. Moral, ethical, and legal aspects. Okay. Right. So let's look at some of the influences. So let's first look at the good things. Right? Benefits to the society as a whole. Okay. So now we have better connectivity. Right. So when your father or mother go to work, at any time, maybe you can chat with them. WhatsApp is there. At any time, you can take a call, Zoom call. Even you can see them. So better connectivity. Maybe your brother is in USA, sister is in Singapore. So you can connect with them. You can talk to them, call them at any time. So that is good. That is good. And we get access to the latest information when we get it online. Latest information. The YouTube is there. The websites are there. Latest tutorials, latest technologies. So that is a benefit to the society, because no longer people have to be outdated. So they can be up to date at any time as long as they use ICT. Okay. And also the online social interactions, because humans are social animals. We are not isolated animals like, okay, some tigers and blah, blah, blah. We are social animals like elephants. So we need interactions. So there are plenty of platforms available now, right? Facebook is there, the TikTok is there. Of course, those are for adults. But when you become adult, so you can benefit that, get the use of that for your interactions. So those are benefits, because we need those. We need to connect with our friends, family members, and so on, right? And also because of the ICT, the people have better voice power. Better voice power. So we can organize. We can tell whether it is right or wrong using social media. We don't have to wait for the elections now to make our voices. And more entertainment opportunities. So entertainment is not a bad thing. So entertainment is something we all like, just like of food. So people can entertain themselves, they can entertain others. Okay. So that is good. So those are all positive things, because at the end we must be happy. Right. So I don't want to go into these details, right? So the better communication, we have WhatsApp, Telegram, Zoom, and so on. Social interactions, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and so on. Okay. And a lot of entertainment opportunities, right? The YouTube, 3D animation movies, right? Online multimedia repositories like YouTube, and also virtual reality, augmented reality. So augmented reality means you are part of that virtual world. So that is what the TikTok is really famous, so notorious, right? So you become part of that virtual world. So that is what happened in computer game also. So you become part of that virtual world. Right? So I'm not saying that those are bad, but only thing is addicting to those are bad. Okay. So some people addict. Okay. So they don't know. They don't have the control, self-control. Right. Now let's look at some social issues. So we look at some of the social benefits so that you can think of other benefits. Because it's a exhaustive list, right? We can talk about benefits for hours and hours and hours. So therefore, we just mention few benefits so that you can get a feeling about, right? If there's a question in MCQ, now you are in a position to understand what kind of things are the in general social benefits. And now let's look at what kind of things are the social issues that resulted due to ICT. So the number one issue is the digital divide. So this is specifically mentioned in your syllabus, right? Directly mentioned in your syllabus also. Digital divide. So what is mean by digital divide? So digital divide means, okay, let's first look at the overview. So one aspect is digital divide. Another aspect is social isolation. Especially when someone get addicted to some of those things like social media and games. Right? And other issues due to misuse of internet and social media. So anything can be used for bad things as well. Right. So let's take one by one. Digital divide. So you must know what is mean by digital divide. And what are the reasons and how to reduce it. And in the society, there are a lot of divisions. Right. So people sometimes they get divided. So some people get divided by their race, Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim, right? Some people by religion saying, I am Buddhist, I am Islam, I am Hindu. Again, rich and poor, right? So many ways people divide, right? Politically, I am a socialist, I am a capitalist, and so on. And of course, male, female. So that is also sort of a division, right? Of course, that is not a bad division. It's a biological division. But all the others are sort of undue divisions. And just like rich and poor, that is a division, right? Rich people, poor people. So now we have a digital divide. So digital divide means there are a set of peoples who use ICT. There are another set of people, they don't use ICT. So therefore, there's a division. So those who use ICT, that means they have access, they access internet, they use the online materials, and other people, they don't use internet, they don't use online things, they always do physical things. So that division is called digital divide. Okay, digital divide. So first of all, you must know why. Now you know what is digital divide is. Those who use ICT versus those who don't use ICT. So there can be different reasons, right? Right. So one reason is, so some people don't have the infrastructure. Maybe that person doesn't have a smartphone. Maybe that person doesn't have internet. So that person like to use those, but unfortunately that person doesn't have. They don't have the money. Maybe they don't have the connectivity. Right? The required infrastructure is not there, not available, especially internet connectivity in rural areas. And some people, they can't afford, they don't have the money. Of course, the computers, laptops are available, but they don't have the money because they have to buy other essential things. So that is another reason. So therefore, they are in the other side, not use inside. The third category is they have the money, they have the connectivity and everything, but they don't know how to use it, especially the older generation. Some of the people in the older generation. And some people quickly catch up. But some people, they are very slow. Sometimes they never use those things. Because they are attitude-wise, they don't like it. Or maybe they are frightened or afraid of using new technology. So therefore, now for different reasons, there are people who don't use ICT, internet and so on. And there are people who use it. That division is called digital divide. So what are the reasons? Some people, they don't have the money. Some people, they don't have the knowledge. And some people, they don't have the infrastructure. Okay. Those are the three reasons. And how to, now this is bad thing, right? For whatever the reason, this is bad thing. Right? It's something like you had the lunch and the other person not having the lunch. So you must feel bad about it, right? So you must feel for that as a human. So better thing is we both having the lunch. So how do you reduce or eliminate digital divide? So look at the reasons, then you can think of possible solution. We may not be able to solve all the problems in the world, but we may be able to solve some problems. And some problems the government has to take policy decisions. Right? For example, if someone is in the other side because they don't have the infrastructure, maybe they don't have the internet connectivity. That is the biggest issue these days. So then the government has to provide that infrastructure, especially remote areas. Or they have to push those service providers to invest on those things. And of course, if the literacy is the issue, that means people, they don't know how to use it. So that is why we have ICT as a subject in schools, conducting various training programs for elderly people and so on, so that let them also catch up. And of course, if someone cannot afford it because it's too expensive or they don't have money, so then of course we have very little thing to do. So the government has to take policy decisions. reducing taxes and other things so that it become more and more affordable. Right? And of course, when it comes to, you know, that when it comes to importing vehicles and so on, there are big tax values. But for laptop, smartphone, so with the taxes, for example, computers, there's no tax at all. So likewise, the government is taking steps to make it cheaper and cheaper. Okay. So that is how you reduce the digital divide. Let more and more people, let the especially internet and other things infrastructure expand as much as possible. Give them more and more learning opportunities and also try to make things cheaper and cheaper. Okay. Right. So that is the number one point, digital divide. Okay. Number one issue. Right. Another one is social isolation. So that happens when someone overuse ICT, overuse, not using ICT, overusing, or sometimes some people get addicted. Right. So people get addicted to smoking, people get addicted to drugs, and similarly, people can addicted to computer or smartphone, especially kids. So then they become isolated from physical interactions because they are always with their smartphones, or they are always playing games, they are always watching videos and so on. So that is another issue. Of course, that for that kind of a thing, the solution is with that person and their family members and so on. Let them have more and more. Let them basically enlighten that this is not something to be addicted. This is something useful thing, that you have life outside the smartphone as well. Okay. Because it can even get into mental health issues when there's someone addicted to something. Okay. Right. So addicted to computer games, addicted to social media, all those things, addicted to pornography. Again, they don't know the limit because they don't have that self-control. So only those not having the self-control get victims of any of these things. So those who don't get the proper guidance, they don't have other objectives in their life. Okay. Right. And also, as I told you, anything can be misused. So same thing can happen to internet, social media, and so on. So few of those issues are due to misuse, cyberbullying. So you have to be aware of these words, cyberbullying. So cyberbullying means use of internet, social media, and any other social groups like chat groups and so on to harass or humiliate a kid or teenager. So that is called bullying. So when you use internet and social media, we call it cyberbullying. Right? So bullying is unethical thing. So some people get the pleasure by harming others. So that is maybe their cultural background or whatever, they get the pleasure by harming others. So part of that thing is cyberbullying. But that bullying is done by adult, we call it cyber stalking. So same thing, because sometimes even the adults behave like kids. Right? So if kids doing that, it's called cyberbullying. If adults doing that, maybe for more vicious purposes like jealousy and other things, so then we call it cyber stalking. Okay. So then other things like uploading inappropriate materials, sometimes violence related things are uploaded, sexual materials are uploaded, sometimes to blackmail others, and also spreading hate based on racism, religious, political motives. So that is also, those are some of the misuses. We will look at more of those things in our final subtopic. legal and ethical aspects of ICT. That is our final subtopic for the topic number 1. Okay. Right. So remember, we are talking about social aspects. Right. So we are talking about the social aspects of ICT. So when it comes to society, so we have some people with some disabilities or some special needs. So we now very rarely we use the word disability. We use people with special needs. Maybe a person is blind, person is deaf, or eyesight is not as good as a normal person. Okay. So when it comes to ICT, so we try to include them as much as possible using technology. Okay. For example, if someone is blind means, of course, that person cannot see a web page or whatever, right? So then we have the screen readers. So you visit that website and you enable it, the screen reading. So then they can hear. The screen reader will read the content of the page. Even you can use it for books. So that is good. So early days, people were talking about braille system, which is, of course, which work, but which need a lot of time, practice, right? Very slow, but screen readers does the work. Of course, you can't create a braille website, but this work better than braille system. Right? And there are speech recognition and agent technologies. If someone has issues with their hands, so they can't type, so then they can talk, giving commands. Of course, even with those who are having hands, we also prefer to give commands. That is how we interact with Google Assistant, Apple Siri, and so on, right? Because it's very convenient, but it's super important for disabled people if that person doesn't have the hands. And of course, if we can make it very customizable, especially for older people with some eyesight issues, if we can easily increase the font size, use a different theme, contrast. So when we are developing systems, we think about those things as well, because that is a social responsibility. We don't want to exclude them. We want to include everyone. We don't want to let them isolate. Okay. Right. Finally, we'll briefly look at privacy-related issues. Privacy-related issues. Right. What is mean by privacy? Pudgalikatve, paudgalikatve. So, for example, when you go to washroom, you need privacy. When you sleep, you need privacy. Okay. So, privacy means the right to be let alone. So, there are situations we want to be alone. We don't want to expose that details. So, we don't want to, sometimes we just want to stay without any interference from others. Not permanently. Okay. That is called privacy. So then we have something called information privacy. So information privacy means just like we have the privacy, right? So there are some information we don't want to expose to everyone. Maybe only for few people, maybe family members or very close friend or whatever, but you don't want to expose it to some others. So those information, we call them that keeping those information private, we call it information privacy. Okay. Information privacy. So what are those sensitive or privacy information? Because this is IT, information technology. So we must know which type of information are privacy or sensitive information. For example, the personal information, a photo, residential address, contact numbers. So you can't just share someone else those information to another person without the consent of the original person, especially photo and something like that. Okay. Sometimes we collect those information. Say we develop a website, we collect those information. So we are not supposed to share those with third parties because they trust us. For example, you have given us your phone number, email address. So your email address is not shared with anyone else. So those are personal information. So then the financial information, someone's salary, bank account details. For example, bank never disclose the financial details unless there's a court order. Okay. And when we are handling these details in our information systems, we must be really careful not to expose it to third parties. Then health related information like medical records, test results. So there are ways to, for example, of course, when you do a test, we can ask them to email. We can ask them to upload it to a site where we can download, but it has to be accessed by only one person, the client. So there are techniques to preserve the privacy of those data. And also education related data, right? Your results and so on. So your O-level results, no one want to. If you go for a job interview, of course they may need to know your results, but not other people, right? Not other people. So because those are privacy sensitive information, whether you pass or fail, it is your information. Right? So first of all, you must know what are those sensitive data. What are those sensitive data? Personal information, financial information, health related information, education related information, or any other thing. But these are the main categories. Okay. So if there's a MCQ question, you must be able to extract this is a sensitive information. This is not a sensitive information. Okay. Remember, there are limitations when it comes to privacy. So privacy is not 100% thing. It's not 100% thing. There are situations the privacy is compromised. So same, not only for information, right? For example, you value your privacy of your private parts, body parts, but when it comes to when you see a doctor, sometimes you have to expose it, right? Say if there's a legal issue, you have to expose your privacy data. If the government need that data information for taxing and so on, you have to expose your income. Okay. So there are situations legally we are bound to provide those things. We can't say it is my privacy. It is my sensitive personal information. Maybe it's a part of the criminal investigation. So you must know the boundary. In general, privacy information, yes, but under special situations, it becomes, you have to expose that. You have to disclose that information. Now let's look at what are the common privacy concerns when it comes to ICT. ICT. So one of the main concern is excessive monitoring the employees using CCTV. So CCTV camera is used for something like for security and so on, but some people use it to monitor their employees, whether they are working, they are always busy, or they are idling. Especially some managers use it. So that is violating their privacy, because do you like someone always looking at you? I don't think. So you need your privacy. So that is a privacy concern. And some organizations monitor their employees' internet use excessively. Of course, some sort of monitoring is needed, but if it is excessively done, that is not a good thing. And also sometimes even at the home environment, we violate that, right? So of course you can have your CCTV camera, but your CCTV camera must cover only your house. So some people CCTV camera is monitoring other houses. So that is violating the privacy. It's an illegal thing. So you can have your CCTV camera, but it must be within your territory, not focusing other places. Okay. And also there are some other privacy concerns by the service providers, like smartphone vendors. So Apple gets some privacy information, Samsung gets some privacy information. Social media providers get a lot of privacy information about us. The messaging services, obviously, because we have no other option. But so when you chat with someone else, say using WhatsApp, can WhatsApp see your message? So the simple answer is no. So some people are worried that the WhatsApp can see my message. No, there's something called end-to-end encryption. It's encrypted from your side and decrypted at the other side. So even WhatsApp or Messenger or Viber, they can't see what is your message. Because otherwise people will not use it. Okay. And other services like Google, right? Say your Gmail, obviously they have the access to the content, right? Your search engine, what are your search patterns, what kind of things you search, right? What kind of places you have visited. So all those details are with Google, because you are using the Google map and to navigate, and therefore they know what are the places you have visited. Of course, it is not a big issue, right? Google knowing that, but if someone else knows that, it can be an issue, right? So therefore you must know how to control it. There are ways to control. You can say don't keep that history. Otherwise, if someone hack it, they know everywhere you have visited for last 5-6 years. All the words you have searched, maybe for the day you start doing Google search. Okay. So you must know how to control these things, settings. If you are really concerned, of course, if you don't concern about those things, it's not an issue. Right. So finally, we move on to the economic aspects. So now we are done with social. Remember, our topic is social and economic aspects. So in general, ICT has a lot of positive effect on the economy. So those countries which use ICT, they are developed. Starting from US, UK, Western European countries. So they heavily use ICT and they are heavy super developed countries. So therefore, ICT is positively affecting the economy. Why? Because when we use ICT, overall our productivity is very high. Not only business level or our official things, our personal productivity is very high. As citizens, we use more and more online things. We cut down our traveling, wasting our time. It lower the cost. So you buy things online and so on. You sell things online. And it gives more and more opportunities for the people, businesses, because people can start e-businesses. We can sell our items to other countries because they have access to our websites and so on. So if you use, yes, we can start exporting. We can start making money. But if you don't use, right? So we lose that opportunity. So those are some points only. So in general, that high productivity, high quality, high efficiency comes with ICT. So if this majority of the people use it, in general, all those benefits are coming to the economy. But if only small portion of people use it, the economy is not getting that benefit. Other countries, they get that advantage. Okay. And of course, there are some issues, economic issues, and those are basically affecting only small part of the people. In general, always ICT contribute positively. In general, positively contribute the economy. But there can be some specific people, they get the negative effect. Especially some people losing their jobs, whether we like it or not. Right? Now you know that about 20 years ago, banks needed so much of people. But these days, banks need only few people because we deposit money online using deposit machines. Then, of course, the ATM machines are there. We do online payments. So we don't have to use paper money. So we need less and less people. So that means less and less people get those jobs. And sometimes the existing people also losing their jobs. Right? So same thing is happening to more and more jobs now because of the artificial intelligence and so on. More and more work can be automated. More and more work. Robotics has taken some of the manufacturing jobs and so on. So therefore, yes. So some people get the negative effect, but overall, ICT is essential part because overall, those countries using ICT, they get the higher economic benefits. Okay. Right. So that's it about economic and social benefits and issues of ICT. So we have a very small part that we'll be covering next time. But before moving to that, I want you to start doing some quizzes. Okay. I hope some of you have done those quizzes proactively. For example, now we have finished the introduction to ICT. Today we finished application of ICT. Okay. And also we finished the introduction to computer last time. So that quiz also you can do. Okay. Right. So if you haven't done the quiz 1, introduction to ICT, so can you take only 5 minutes. Okay, take only 5 minutes and do this quiz right now. Okay. So you can go to the Google Classroom and open the quiz. Okay. And quickly do it. Quickly do it. I think it has only about 10, 12 questions. Then I will do the quiz with you. But I want you to do it. I will give you 5 minutes. Okay. And again, you don't have to log in. I don't track your who has done that things and blah blah blah. You can even do without logging to the system. You can say this switch account, and you can log out and do it as well. Okay, I don't mind, but just do it. Okay, just do it. I will give you 5 minutes. Then I will also discuss these quizzes with you. Okay, right. Quickly do it. I will anyway. I hope now you have the Google Classroom access. But if you don't have the Google Classroom access, anyway, I can put it into the WhatsApp group for the time being, only today. But next time, I will not be doing that, okay? I do this quiz. I put it into the WhatsApp group as well if you don't have access to the... if you haven't got the access to the Google Classroom, okay? And remember, I told you the September, you don't have to pay fees, but from October, you have to pay the fees, okay, because this is a private tuition class. But you can do your payments during the month, okay, during the month. You have to pay by the end of the month, okay. I will be sharing the payment details and so on because we have to formalize it, right? So this is not a joke. A-level is not a joke. Otherwise, people will think that this is a joke. And those who do the payments will be added to another WhatsApp group. And after October, the Zoom links and everything will be added to that WhatsApp group. And only those who do the payments will be continue to get the Google Classroom access. Okay. Others access will be disabled. Okay. Right. So quickly do it. Take about 5 minutes. Okay. Now it's 5:31. Okay. So we'll do the quiz by 5:35. So try to do as much as possible because those are MCQs. Okay. So these things we discussed last time. Last time, not last time, basically the week before last week. Quickly do it. If you cannot access the quiz, just let me know. If there's any access issue, I can fix it quick straight away. And after answering all the question, you can submit. And then you can see, you can even yourself can see the correct answers and how many answers are correct. But it's very important that we reevaluate whether have I understood the subject now? Okay, because otherwise you think that you have understood, but actually you haven't understood properly or up to that level. So you can attempt this again and again. Don't worry. Right? Again and again, you can attempt these quizzes. So therefore, don't try to be perfect. Don't be too serious. So this is our first quiz. And don't try to get 100 out of 100. Okay, if you can get 100 out of 100, that is good for your confidence, because so then it becomes habit for you. Okay. So I just want to get you into that mood. So it's fun, right? Taking challenges. It's part of your life actually. So when you get, if you get 100 out of 100, how much of a pleasure you get, right? So those who do this one, you can then do this quiz, that is introduction to computer quiz as well. Okay. So you can work on that quiz, those who finish this quiz. Okay, because we finished that topic also. And it has more quizzes, questions, but this one has only about 10, 11 quiz questions. Yeah, less than 15 questions. I'll give 1 more minute. So those who have not got the Google Classroom access, you can, for the time being, use the WhatsApp group link. Okay. I will address your Google Classroom issue after the class. Okay. But make sure you answer all the questions and submit and first check by yourself. Right. Because these are very straightforward questions. Just to check whether you have understood what is data, what is information, what is entity, what is a system, right? What is the information system, what is a computer-based information system, and so on. Okay. And no big questions, nothing outside your what we have discussed. Maybe just one question or two questions outside what we discussed, but again, just to check whether you have the common sense, your general knowledge, are you intelligent? Right. So let's start. You can continue doing this, right? But I will start. Which of the following best explain the modern era? So I told you that we have passed hunting era, then agricultural era, then industrial era, and now we are in information era. So somewhere around 2000, right? So we moved from, actually not 2000, even before 2000, we moved from industrial era to information era. So we are predominantly now in information era. Right, second question. Which of the following statement best describes data? Right, which of the following statement best describes data? So once you submit, you can see how much marks you got, okay? So therefore, you can evaluate by yourself. I am not going to evaluate your marks, okay? Right? You are no longer now kids. You are now responsible, right? You are now transiting from kids to or teenage to adult, right? When you are facing the A level, you are adult. You are adult. You will be above 18 years. So therefore, you have to start taking the responsibility of your life and things on, right? Don't wait for your parents or anyone to push you. And if you are very responsible, no one is going to push you, right? So if you need independence, make sure that you are very responsible. Then of course, everyone will give you that independence. No one will right, come behind you. So you have to win it. Okay. Right. So second question, which of the following statement best describes data? Data is anything that we are interested. Data is behavior of entities. Data is entities that we are interested. Data is attributes or properties of entities. Okay. Data is properties of attributes. Which one is the correct one? Can anyone give me the answer?
Data is properties of the attributes.
Yeah, data is attributes or properties. Data is properties of the attributes. Is it your answer? That means last one.
Yes, sir.
No, that is not correct. So data is, so basically properties and attributes are the same words. Right? So data, remember we have something called entities. Entities. So entities is a concept that we are interested. Remember living physical entities, non-living physical entities, conceptual entities. So those are entities. Say man or student is an entity. It's not data. A car is an entity, physical, non-living. Right? Then payment, account, course, those are entities. Okay. So then these entities have properties or attributes. So those properties or attributes are data. Student is not a data. Student's name is data. Student's age is data. So then of course your entities have behaviors also, but we are not interested in behaviors right now. But what is data? Data is attributes or properties of entities. Right? Data is attributes or properties of entities. Okay, so data is not that anything we are interested. For example, student we are interested, but student is not data. Okay, only we are data is the attributes or properties of entities. Okay, so therefore I will go for this one. Okay, so you have to find the best answer. Sometimes all the answers look the same. So that is how these questions are made. Okay. So don't worry, you can make all the mistakes, right? So that is why you're coming for a class, right? If you know everything, why do you want to come for a class? But right, which of the following statement is correct? Right? Data can be tangible, physical. Can anyone give me an answer? Don't worry, whether right or wrong.
Entities are always conceptual.
Entities are now, right now also I told you, entities can be living physical, entities can be non-living physical, entity can be conceptual. For example, student, it's an entity, but entities, this student is an entity and it is not conceptual. Student is living physical thing. Car is not conceptual. Conceptual means you can't touch. You can't touch. But if you take payment, right, order, those are entities. Those are not data. But those are conceptual. So therefore, entities can be conceptual. That is why in Sinhala we call this bhutartha. Sinhalin ICT කරන අයට ඔකට කියන නම තමයි syllabus එකේ bhutartha. මම දන්නේ කොහෙන් හොයාගත්ත නමක්ද කියලා. But data is always conceptual. So student's name, car's registration number, right? Payment amount. So data is always conceptual, but entities can be living physical, non-living physical, or conceptual. So now again, anyone else, or you can again give me a different answer, or anyone else? So everyone, I prefer everyone to talk as well.
Sir, then is data is always conceptual?
Yes, data is always conceptual. So entities can be conceptual or non-conceptual, but data is always conceptual. So that is correct. Okay, right. So data can be tangible, physical. No, data cannot be physical. Data is always conceptual. Entities are always physical. No, entities can be conceptual, like order, payment. Data is always conceptual. Entities are always conceptual. No, entities can be non-conceptual. Data can be living physical things. No, data cannot be living physical things. Entity can be living physical. Okay. So the answer is data is always conceptual. Right? There's nothing called physical data. So the most important thing is you must be 100% sure about what is an entity, what is data. Right? So this is very confusing for someone who is new to ICT. So that is why we are having these quizzes and so on, right? So then you know that no, I have things to clarify. Okay. Sometimes your brain is a funny thing. Your brain will always say, yes, you understood it. Because brain is lazy. So then brain can go to sleep, right? So therefore, that is why you know to do more and more, challenge yourself, quizzes and double check. Right, next one. Which of the following is a data? This is a very important question. Can anyone give me an answer? So remember, you have to differentiate the entity and data. So data is a property of an entity. I know this is very confusing for someone new, but someone experienced person straight away say this is the data in this particular example. Anyone? So don't worry. Payment for a service, employee of an organization, balance of a bank account, course in an education institute, customer of a business. So payment is a major concept because payment has properties. Payment has properties, right? Of course, employee is a living thing. Living thing cannot be data anyway, right? Living things or any physical things cannot be data anyway. Customer, employee is completely out. Right? Payment is a major concept. So payment has some data. Payment amount, payment date, payment type. Cost is another major concept. Cost, fee, cost, starting date. Right? So therefore, those two are also out. Now, what about the balance of a bank account? Now, bank account is an entity. And bank account has account number, interest rate, balance. Those are balance is a data. So what is the current balance of your bank account? Say 100,000. And that is a data. Right? That is a data. So answer is balance of a bank account. Okay. Right. So this is again, which of the following is not a data? So there's a small typing mistake. This must be date of a payment. Okay, not data of a payment. So I will fix that. Okay. Date of a payment, not data of a payment. Anyone want to give me an answer? So don't worry. This is your first quiz.
Sir, password of a user.
Password of a user. It's a data. It's a data.
Fourth one.
Sorry, which one?
Fourth one.
Yes, reservation of a flight. Correct. So reservation is a entity. So reservation has its own data. For example, reservation date, reservation type, right? So it's a big concept. It's a bigger concept. So entities are the bigger concept. Data is properties of that concept. So password is when you have a user account, username, password, those are data, right? When you take product, price, product ID, price, date of manufacturing, data. When you take payments, date of payment is a data. If you take customer name, customer email address, customer contact number, so those are data. So reservation is a entity. It's not an easy question, right? I know it's not an easy question, so that is why. So we don't do easy questions, we do challenging questions. Okay. Right. Which of the following is the best example for information? Now the question is on information. Best one. So remember, when you process only, we get information. So that means you must find something which has been calculated or whatever. After processing, you get that, not a raw thing that you can observe.
Z-score of a student?
Yes. So that is very obvious question, right? Z score of a student, because Z score right, at the end of your A level also you get the Z score. So Z score is calculated by taking your marks, other students who did those subjects, because there are easy subjects, difficult subject. So if you have got a A for difficult subject, you get a higher Z score, and so on. So definitely, so these are raw things, right? Name of a patient, price of an item, color of a vehicle. Just we can observe or we can ask. A registration number of student, but this is something we got it after processing, right? Right. Next one. Which of the following statement is correct about information? Right. So we discuss the properties of information. Value of information increase with time. So that means when the time pass, value goes up. Is it correct? Good information has higher cost than benefits. So that means its cost is bigger than the benefits. Complex information is more valuable than simple information. Highest value of information is at the information creation time. So that is highest value is the moment the information is created. When we delay the release of information, it creates more value to the user. So the more you delay, it is more valuable for the user. So which one is correct? Anyone?
The fourth
Fourth
one.
one.
Yeah, fourth one. Highest value of information is at the information creation time. And when the time pass, the value goes down. Right? So the highest value for your result is when the results are just released. Right? So highest value for tsunami alert is the moment that information is released, or the moment you got that information from the research or whatever the organizations. Okay. Right. So the next question. Which of the following is least relevant? Right. The least relevant in communication. So that is least relevant concept related to communication. Remember, we are doing ICT, information and communication technology. So therefore, we discuss what is communication is. So protocols, media, addressing, tone, acknowledgement. So remember, we draw a diagram and discuss. Right? Which one? It's a tricky question. Tricky question.
The protocols.
Protocols are needed. For example, when we are doing networking, we look at internet protocol, hypertext transfer protocol, and so on. We discussed that the protocols are needed. Protocol, for example, right now our protocol is English. So that is the agreed way of agreement. We need a media, right? For example, it can be AR if we just talk to someone, or it can be use of paper. We pass it to someone else, or right now we are using electronic media. Addressing is needed to uniquely identify. For example, now you have to think about all the communications, right? So right now addressing is, for example, my addressing is my name, and of course my computer's IP address. If you look at the computer, so tone is not an essential part. Acknowledgement is also needed, otherwise, right, you don't know whether you got it or not. Right? For example, even in WhatsApp, right, when you send a message, there are two lines saying that it is sent. Okay, right? It is sent, of course, not for a group, but for individuals. You can see whether your message is delivered or not, which is needed. Otherwise, you will get an error saying this is not delivered. So therefore, least important thing is the tone, right? So it's anyway, it's a very tricky question. Okay. But all these words were there in your note. If I open that note, so we look at this under ICT basics, introduction to ICT. So there we had discussed what is communication is. So this is where we discuss the highest value is at the information creation time. Okay. So where was it? We discuss it somewhere. Yeah, you can see. So message, protocol, media or channel, feedback or acknowledgement, of course, the sender and receiver. So those are the essential of communication, whether it's human to human or computer to computer or whatever. Okay. Right. So let's move on to our next questions. Which of the following is least relevant in describing a system? So just see which one has not much mentioned in our discussions. So in the definition, types, and so on. Components, collaborate, boast, objectives, communicate. So what is the definition of a system? System is set of components that communicate and collaborate to achieve a common objective. Now you can find the answer. Which one is the answer?
Third one.
Third one, because system is set of components, right, that communicate and collaborate. Those components communicate and collaborate to achieve the common objective. So therefore objective is also important. So there's nothing called boast. Okay. So just check whether you know the definition of what is a system. Right. So the next one. Which of the following statement is wrong about system? Right? Wrong about system. You have to do it by yourself. Anyone? Say A, B, C, D, E. Which one?
C.
C. Right. Vehicle is a man-made system. It's a correct. Computer is a system. Yes. So that is what we started last time. Computer system. Power plant is a closed system. No, right? For the power, we take the power out. And also maybe we have to input from outside water, if it is hydropower, or maybe coal or whatever, or fuel. So it is not a closed system. It's an open system. We take input from outside and we give the power to the society or the country. So therefore, yes, it is wrong. Smartphone is adaptive system, obviously, yes. Adapt to the environment, right? Android is an operating system. Yeah, that is something you all know, right? Android is an operating system for mobile phones. So the answer is third one. Okay. Right. Which of the following is not a feature of a good system? Anyone?
Large.
Yeah. So we want to make our systems adaptive, efficient, okay, effective, quality, not large. So sometimes, of course, the system may be large, but we don't think that, of course, smaller the better, right? Smaller the better. So that is why everyone likes smartphones, right? So this is not an essential feature of good system. Sometimes it can be actually smaller the better in most of the cases, right? So which one of the following is false about manual information systems? Remember, we discussed manual information system and computer-based information system. Anyone?
Third one.
Third one.
Third one.
So people can make mistakes. Yes. People may intentionally do fraud. So corruption. Yes. More efficient than CBIS. No. CBIS usually or almost all the time it's more efficient than, right, manual systems. So therefore this is the answer. Right. This is the answer. So need more space. Yes. Media used to store data may deteriorate over the time. Yes. Because manual system we use paper and ink, it may deteriorate. So you can't say it's more efficient than CBIS. Right. Next one. Which of the following is suitable for batch processing? We discussed two types of processing: batch processing, online real-time processing. Right. Online real-time processing. So batch processing means we process batch-wise at the end of the day or at the end of the week or monthly or once a year. So which one is better suitable for batch processing out of these? Anyone? So that means it happens not then and there. It happens once, maybe once a month or once a year or once few times, but not all the time it is processing. So bank money transfer, for example, if I do a money transfer, it must happen immediately. Right. So I can't even wait for the end of the day. So therefore, it is not a batch processing. It is online real time. If I do a booking, immediately that booking has to be there. Because otherwise, because sometimes we even book the particular seat. Of course, computer games are always real time, right? You don't wait next week to do the response. Term test results processing for student in a school. And you know that the term tests are once in a term. And after the exam, the term tests are over, then we can do the processing and give the grades or whatever. So then again, next term test only we use it. So that's a batch processing. Food ordering system for home delivery. Of course, if I just order something from my Uber Eats or Pick Me, immediately the processing is happening. And we get the food also within few minutes. So therefore, it must be real time because obviously. So therefore, answer is what? Term test results processing for students in school. Because maybe once a term we process it. Right, maybe this is last one, yes. Which of the following is most appropriate example for big data? Remember we discussed three types of data: structured, semi-structured, unstructured. Unstructured data, another name is big data. Right? Most appropriate example you have to pick. Which one? Student registration details, contents uploaded to YouTube. Remember, big data is multimedia data, image, audio, video, or lot of text, which has no structure. This prescription of a medicine by a doctor. So prescription will have, right, this particular medicine, this for this much of time and maybe 3 times a day. It's not a big data. It has a well-defined structure. Of course, they will not write it properly, but it has a structure. Daily rainfall amount. So it's maybe just say 10 millimeters, 20 millimeters, and so on. Daily foreign exchange rate of a currency. So that is definitely a structured data, right? Dollar to rupee rate or whatever. So what is the answer? Contents uploaded to YouTube, because that is unstructured data. Multimedia is big data. Right, so then you can submit, right, and then you can do view score. Okay, and if you have any wrong answers, of course I got 14 out of 14 because I said that results, so therefore I know the answers. Okay, and if you make any mistakes, right, when you submit, you will see some of these are red and it will show which one is the correct one, right, which one is the correct one. So therefore these are self evaluatory questions, right? I just did it because I want you to start doing these things, right? Right? And again, if at any time, you can again click on that and again do it freshly, right? Freshly. So therefore, it is not one time. You can do these quizzes over and over again. Okay. Right. So we'll stop at this point. I will be posting the payments and other information because this is the last class for the September, right? But October fees you can pay during the October month. Okay. So therefore, you have the again another 1 month time also. And if you have any other questions related to access to WhatsApp, access to the Google Classroom, recordings are available. Okay. But only thing is you have to log into the YouTube using, for example, this is the last week recording. You have to log in. So for example, if you don't log in, you will get an error message saying it's a private media. But if you have login using the email address given to us, because we only give access to that particular email address only. Okay. So double check whether you have login using the correct, because sometimes if you are logging using a smartphone, maybe that smartphone email address is login address is something other than what you have given to us. So then you have to give the email address that you use. If you want to change your email address, just let me know, send me a private message. Maybe if you have but you can't do it in the middle, right? In the middle, you can't change your email address because we are giving access 1 by 1 basis. So maybe after 10 classes, I have to do it 10 times, right? That is not going to work. But if you want to change the email address, you have to do it upfront, your permanent email address that you use to connect to view your recordings, right? So if it is something else, or if it is not your email address, you can change it, but you have to do it at the beginning, not after 1, 2 months or 3 months. Okay. Right. We'll stop at this point, right? Thank you.